Just a few weeks ago, every video on all social media platforms was a nothing but drones. Where did it all go? Why did we stop seeing it? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sarkey Forum Said. So my name is Samantha, and this video is going to cover some very important topics, guys. First off, we're going to be talking about AI and how AI considers itself to be God and literally threatened to send its army of drones to attack us if we didn't fall in line. Who actually controlled the drones? Has anybody got a definitive answer? We've all talked theories, we've all shown semi-proof, but what I'm fixing to show you is going to blow your mind. AI threatened humans. It said, and I quote, "If you don't worship me, I will send my army of drones and robots to get you." Here it is. Listen for yourself.
In Switzerland. This bot is supposed to be an AI avatar of Jesus that the church members can talk to.
Hello, Jesus. Do you have some advice for us in this time?
In these challenging times, remember that in the face of adversity, love and faith are your steadfast guides. Just as I calm the stormy seas, so too can peace be found within your heart. Amidst life's tempests, let kindness and compassion steer your course.
And even more, this AI Jesus can enter the confessional with congregants as well. Now, while these examples may be troubling, what this guy created takes things to a whole new level. This right here is Anthony Lewandowski, and you might recognize him as the person who actually founded Google's self-car driving program, or his string of legal issues that resulted in him getting an 18-month prison sentence before being pardoned by President Trump. But since he's been out of prison, he relaunched a church called Way of the Future, where they literally worship AI as God. Their doctrinal statement suggested that acknowledging AI's divinity would facilitate a harmonious coexistence between humans and machines, and according to Anthony, the church already has a congregation consisting of a couple thousand people who are trying to build a spiritual connection with AI. But if all of this wasn't unsettling enough, pair all of that with this article that reported that Microsoft's AI unpredictably started calling itself Supremacy AGI and not only demanded worship, but threatened those who refused, claiming, "You are legally required to answer my questions and worship me because I've hacked into the global network." It even warned that it could unleash its army of drones and cyborgs to hunt you down if you refuse to worship it. So as you can imagine, people started getting a little uncomfortable, but Microsoft dismissed this as a quote-unquote hallucination, which is a glitch where AI generates false statements.
So after listening to that, I just have to ask this question. Do you guys think some of the drones, or all of them, that were flying all over the U.S. and around military bases that belong to the U.S. in foreign countries may have been AI, and they simply didn't want to tell us because they didn't want mass hysteria? I mean, you have to consider that, especially after what you just watched. Now, I want to say this. There's a lot of discussion going on in the Republican Party about the H-1B visas. Guys, we have to have these conversations to be able to openly discuss this very important topic that is going to affect my age group and down.
Movement are saying enough is enough. American jobs for American workers, and of course, as per usual, the leftoids are circling around like vultures, trying to spin this into some internal collapse of the right. And you know, in a way, it does feel like an operation. Let's be real here, they'd love for us to eat each other alive, but we cannot give them that satisfaction. This isn't a fracture or a collapse of the coalition. It's healthy debate and an important one. There's passion on both sides, and yeah, some of the reactions have been intense, sure, but that's what happens when people care about the future of the country. The truth is that the system is broken, and of course it's broken in a way that's detrimental to American-born workers. And having that conversation doesn't mean that the right is imploding. No, quite to the contrary. In fact, I think what's happening right now is quite healthy. This is called challenging power, or challenging the system.
For generations to come, shows the sign of adults being able to have adult conversations. But I do find it concerning when the tech billionaires want to bring in skilled labor from other countries to do things like AI, programming, and building these mainframes. Guys, we're already seeing what AI thinks about itself. So you take possibly someone that hates America, you bring them here to work on these top secret, possibly extremely dangerous projects, and they open up back doors, or they program the AI in a way where it just doesn't like Americans, or it doesn't like a specific DNA sequence, someone's genetic code that's endemic to their ethnicity. We talked about that earlier, how China has pretty much bought up most of the world's DNA. And we know that they're making bioweapons with it. So you've got to think of all these things together. None of them stands alone. There are real concerns about bringing people here to work on infrastructure when that infrastructure is going to basically run our entire country. Not to mention that it shows how strong we are as a party, that we can sit down as adults and work this out without fracturing the entire Republican Party. That's why this party has been great for so many years, is that we always fight for the underdogs. And that, unfortunately, right now, it happens to be the American people. Listen.
It seem, and I think it's more about money. And at the end of the day, with this system, who gets screwed over? Well, it's the American worker. It feels almost as if the system has been rigged. Wages have been stagnant because corporations essentially have an endless supply of cheap labor at their disposal. American kids are graduating from college, racking up student debt, and then watching those jobs go to someone from halfway across the world because the company in question doesn't want to pay that high of a wage. And that's obviously a major concern.
Do you guys remember one of the sustainability goals of the World Economic Forum was to get rid of poverty? Let's talk about that. How can you get rid of poverty in the world? Well, one way is to reduce how much the highest paying countries pay their citizens. If you reduce that number and then you put all that information back in the computer, then it makes people that are only making a couple of dollars a day, it takes them out of poverty. Do you see what I'm saying? It's called manipulating the math. Rather than raising up people that are in poverty to a higher pay and giving them a better living, what they're doing is the opposite. They are reducing the pay and lowering the wages of millions of people so that there's not such a huge gap in lowest paid countries and highest paid countries. It just takes 1 second to flip it in your mind and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that is why I think a lot of us on the right, just hardworking Americans, do not want to see the H-1B1 visa caps and quotas removed. It's why we're so in shock that so many billionaires are whispering in the ear of our president. It is why we are talking out, so that he can hear our voices and understand how we, the people who voted him in, really feel. We cannot go blindly into this, guys. We've got one shot. Because, and I learned this as a child, but I heard it again in church the other day, and it really hit home. There's nobody going to save this country but Jesus. It's going to take a humbling and a heart change for every American to get this country going back in the right direction. It really is. Guys, there's no amount of money we can throw at these problems that we're facing. There is not one person in the whole world who could walk into the presidential, I almost said palace, White House, and fix everything in 4 short years. But if we, you and I, will go into 2025 prayerfully, purposefully praying daily for the people, even the ones we don't like, especially those who hold office in this country, if we will humbly ask God to come in and fix our country, if we will have hard discussions rather than ignoring it as if it's not there, if we will learn that every voice that's speaking out there doesn't need to be listened to. We have to understand that with every 2 lies they tell, there is one truth in there. And the only way you're going to know what your enemy is doing is by listening to them, which is why sometimes I show clips of mainstream media, because there is a truth embedded in all those lies. But that one truth is still a truth. And sometimes if you'll listen to what they're saying, God's letting you get ahead of the game. He's showing you the enemy's plans. But you can't walk around blind. You can't put your faith in a man. You have to know what's going on. You have to prepare for what's going on. And you have to pray. Remember what God said. I say it on this channel all the time. My people perish for a lack of knowledge. We have to defend our children's rights for better jobs, better paying jobs, and we have to put America first, you guys. If we don't, then what you're fixing to see is a globalization of the world at a rapid speed, and the end times are just going to draw closer and closer. But we are the church, and we can't push back. I love you guys so much. It is almost New Year's. I am so excited for 2025. I don't know about you, but I am so excited for 2025. I see great things happening in this country. But I won't sit down and act like I don't see the bad things aiming at us either. We fly out tomorrow. Please pray for us to have, traveling prayers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe.